9.6% guaranteed rate of return on a federal government safe money investment. Is this for real, and is it something you should be looking into? This is a question that one of our viewers asked us just this week, and we are going to talk about this investment opportunity today.
We did get an email, Amber, from a viewer that said, is this really legitimate? What are we talking about here? We are talking about U.S. Series I savings bonds. These are issued by the U.S. Treasury, and the interest rate that they are paying is based on the current inflation rate, which, as we all know, is at 40-year high. So we're seeing some crazy interest rates right now. In fact, right now today, Amber, the interest rate guaranteed for the next 6 months is 9.62%. That is the rate guaranteed if you were to purchase an I bond between now and the end of October 2022. That rate will be guaranteed for a 6-month period after that.
So my question then is this 9.62% locked in for the entire 6 months, or can it fluctuate? And what happens after 6 months?
Okay, so Amber, the 9.62% is an annual rate. So for 6 months, we'd cut that in half, right? So if someone purchases an I series bond on July 1st, that interest rate's gonna be guaranteed till December 31st. After that, the rate will reset to the then current rate for an additional 6 months. Now, Amber, with inflation rates going like they are today, it's possible this rate could go higher, actually. So even if it were to go lower, so you get 8.5 instead of 9.6, I mean, that would be a pretty great rate of return for a safe, secure investment.
So let's talk about some of the details and what you need to know before you actually act on this investment opportunity.
The first thing you know, Amber, is that these can only be purchased through treasurydirect.gov. This is not something that advisors can help their clients get, right? You have to go on to treasurydirect.gov and purchase them there. Another thing to note is these have to be held for a minimum of 1 year. You cannot get your money back for at least 1 year. So this is a 1-year commitment. And if you actually cash it in before the end of 5 years, you would lose 3 months of interest. But I'll point out, Amber, say that our viewers are going to purchase one at 9.62%. They hold it for 1 year, and the next day they sell it. Well, they'd lose 3 months of interest, but they still would have made over 7% interest during those 12 months.
Now, there is a maximum investment allowed on this. You can't just invest however much you want. The maximum allowed investment per person is $10,000.
Per calendar year. So if we're in mid-2022 right now, someone could purchase an I bond now, and then in January 2023, purchase another $10,000. So for married couples, that's up to $20,000 a year that they could potentially have in these I series bonds.
And does that go into the same account, or is it a whole new I bond?
It has to be a separate I bond, and it's under that Treasury Direct account. So if we're going to do this, Amber, you would have your Treasury Direct account, and I would have mine. I can purchase one in 2022, you can purchase one in 2022. In 2023, I can purchase one, and you can purchase one, up to $10,000 each. So we have separate accounts, they're not joint accounts. You can name beneficiaries on these, but that is how these work.
But my $10,000 this year would be separate from my $10,000 next year. I could not merge those into one account.
Correct, yep, it's a separate bond, absolutely.
Okay. Now, it's good to know and important to look at that these actually have some kind of tax benefits.
So first of all, the interest is not subject to state income tax or local income tax if your state or locality have that. So that's huge. The other thing is these actually can grow tax deferred, Amber. So say that someone purchases one today and holds it for the full 5-year term. They don't have to pay interest on that every single year. They can elect to do that, but most people just defer it until they cash it in at some point in the future. When the bond is cashed in, that's when the interest is reported.
Now, this actually has some exclusions if we're talking about education. Isn't that correct?
Correct. Amber, if you actually cash in an I bond and receive the interest in the same year that you pay qualified higher education expenses for yourself or a child, you can exempt the interest from federal taxes even. So this might be a great way for people who are saving for their children's or grandchildren's education, right? They can buy a few of these bonds, $10,000 a year, maybe $10,000 a year for a few years, hold it, and then begin cashing them in to pay those tuition bills. And now that the interest of 9% right now is going to come to them income tax free from federal, state, and local taxes if they're also paying education expenses that year.
So a great benefit for those who are maybe looking at some education savings for their children or grandchildren.
Yeah.
We've talked about using them for education, but how would a retiree then use this in their own portfolio?
Well, Amber, we've talked about our bucket retirement plan. We have our emergency bucket, our income bucket, which is safe and secure investments, and then the growth bucket, which are those riskier investments like stocks and mutual funds and ETFs. So this is that income bucket, right? This is that middle bucket where they're safe. So our retiree might purchase some bonds this year, some bonds next year, another, say in year 3, more bonds. They may hold them for 5 years and then cash in that first bond they bought in year 6, cash in the second year bond in year 7, and start getting some income off of that, and that's when they're going to get that interest reported to them for taxes as well.
One thing that we need to note is that these actually don't pay interest forever. They are subject to have that cease after 30 years.
But this is a great investment right now, Amber, for people who are a little nervous about the markets or want to just have more safe money. 9%. That interest rate could actually go up if inflation keeps going up. And even if it comes down to 7 or 8% on a guaranteed safe investment from the United States government, that's a very attractive interest rate.
Now, if you want more information about this, we actually can't sell you this product. You need to go to treasurydirect.gov to learn more about this safe investment opportunity.
Yeah, treasurydirect.gov actually has a whole list of frequently asked questions. You can see all the rate history on there. Where have these interest rates been in the past few years? They have been pretty good because of inflation. So all your questions should be answered there. That's where you will open an account. That's actually the account Amber where it holds it. These are digital electronic bonds that they will keep track of for you in your account. So again, going back to our example, if we bought one this year and one next year, we'd see the different dates and the different interest rates they're paying in that account online.
So my last question, I guess, is as a fiduciary, is this a product that you would recommend to your clients?
I think, yeah, for most people, this could have a spot in their portfolio. Again, it's very minimal amounts. We're talking for a married couple, $20,000 a year. So it's not a lot of money, but it is a great place to store some money for a rainy day, get some good interest on it, and defer some taxes. So there could be some tax planning here where you buy bonds over a number of years, hold them for 5+ years, and then begin cashing them in when your other income might drop.
So again, we cannot actually sell you this product, but if you have some questions about how this might fit into your retirement investment portfolio, you can go to workwithnewgen.com and schedule a free 15-minute introductory phone call with us.
Because you can make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Plan now to retire happy.